Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and something has happened on Hearthstone that, well, I don't think has ever happened before, and to some it might be something to celebrate, but at the end of the day I think it's a pretty big negative for the game. And before we get into that, I want to thank you guys all for the support for a little joke video we had yesterday on the summer sale. I thought about not doing it, a bit of a broken record with those things, but Diablo Immortal, ooh, they just gave that perfect little punchline. And if you enjoyed my content, you like videos like that, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. If you feel I have earned your subscription, it helps more than you'll ever know. So what has happened? Well, if you can read my tweet, which is right here, what has happened that's never happened before? Well, Priest has completed the all-time full sweep. They are the worst ranked class in all 5 formats, at least when I made this tweet. It fluctuates, and I don't think it's quite lasted every category, at least as I've looked right now, but it's basically the worst performing class in every format. And I showed here this was its performance in Standard, 44.6%, in Wild, 43.8%, Classic, 43.9%, as well as the Arena at 40.4%. And if we move this stupid face over here, in Duels at 44.3%. So basically, I think below 45% in every single mode. Ironically, we made a video not that long ago of something not happening in Hearthstone before, with Druid being the best class in every mode. It was the best class in all 5 modes, and now we're in the reverse situation where Priest is doing the worst in every mode. But numbers can be deceiving. Is it actually the worst? And what has resulted in this happening? And I thought we would start off by just taking a look. 2 years ago, don't forget, 2 years ago in this 2020 standard rotation, there was the Priest rework. They wanted to rework Priest to just be a more healthy class, a better class, because historically Priest had always been a class that either was like the best with, like, they had to give it broken cards, or it was just useless with its basic set. And they did a bunch of stuff to rework it. They buffed Holy Nova, they buffed Smite, they changed Power Word Shield, which has since been reverted and is now better than what this was. They buffed Shadow Madness, they buffed Death, they buffed Temple Enforcer and Thoughtsteal, which is no longer in the standard rotation. They introduced a bunch of new cards, more tempo driven, like Cool Turn Chaplain, Natalie, Power Infusion, Psychic Conjurer, Scarlet Subjugator, and Shadow Rune. I think all these are in the core set except for maybe these two. I'm not entirely sure, but basically none of these really see play, and they Hall of Famed a bunch of cards, of which we've already seen Northshire Cleric return to standard. So there was a big priest rework, and still the class has fundamentally just been kind of a fail. It's arguably the most hated class in the game, despite the fact that it's not been very good historically. I'm guilty of that. I love to meme on Priest, delete Priest, all that. I'm never serious about it, but at the same time, you take a look at Hearthstone these days, it feels like they kind of listened and it's been deleted. But let's take a look. Let's go through every class or every format and see what is going on. So for Standard, Priest is actually doing all right if you like playing Naga Priest, the Wig Priest. Top 1000 Legends since the latest patch. It's the second best deck in the whole game. It's doing really well. It's the deck that's built around just repeating your Serpent Wig over and over, the card they buffed recently, where you keep getting it back every time you play Naga, and then you just get a big, like, OTK type of turn with the Bless. It's very reminiscent of like old Divine Favor, Inner Fire Priest, but not quite as explosive. Outside of that, if you take a look at Priest in Standard, the only other archetypes that even are like measured are Boar Priest and Quest Priest, neither doing particularly well. Even Boar Priest is kind of fallen out of favor with the super high skill cap players that said it was the best deck in the game, despite the fact it's not been nerfed. And no, it's just a polarizing deck that beat up on Warrior pretty well. And yeah, Quest Priest not doing great. And there's like all the other Priest archetypes that don't even show up, like Death Rattle Zarella Priest, and then things like that, and just more conventional control. It just, the class just doesn't have ways to win outside of just like Naga Priest at the moment. It just isn't working. And take a look at the most recent Wild Meta Snapshot, which was made 1 day after the patch. I know that they were on a time crunch. They didn't really want to put it out then, but you know, you got to listen to your bosses, and you might disagree with some of this stuff, but you're not going to really disagree with where Priest is, because it's not tier 1, it's not tier 2. They have Inner Fire Priest aggro priest and big priest, tier 3 and 4. So no real meta-defining style of deck. Inner Fire Priest is ranked tier 3, although quite skill heavy in my opinion, also very high roll heavy, doesn't do great, and that's with all the cards available to priest. The Divine Spirits, the Inner Fires, the only card they don't have access to is Switcheroo, because it got banned after it got nerfed for standard. It's too good, and that's the last time priest was actually at a high win rate in Wild, was the Switcheroo priest basically breaking the game, and that's the only way traditionally priest has really seen play. You'll even note that Raza priest, Reno priest, isn't even on this list. That's how the game has evolved to the point where Raza Anduin, you have to play that on 5 and 8, way too slow. You just don't win games with that strategy in Wild. So priest basically pretty irrelevant in Wild outside of like these tier 3, tier 4 strategies. The difference of a tier 1 or tier 2 deck in Wild compared to tier 3 and tier 4 is astronomical when you compare it to something like standard. Like, you're basically memeing almost. It's a lot of Highlander decks and, you know, value decks which just don't work, or Pirate Warrior, which got nerfed so many times that it finally became not so meta dominant. Take a look at Arena as to why priest is doing so well. Well, look at their most popular cards they are offered. They suck. They're just not good. You look at the cards played, win rate, mulligan win rate, all these cards, these are the most offered cards to priest. They just suck. The class cards are not particularly good. If you're looking at cards that actually boost the win rate of priest, you're looking at Neptulon, Blackwater Behemoth, so 2 colossal minions, shocker there, Lady Prestor, Twin Tyrant, and, you know, just the broken neutrals. The only class cards that really elevate things are like Cull of the Grave, Elec Mount, and yeah, you got some other cards in here. Undying Disciple, I suppose, but overall, you basically need a broken colossal in your priest deck, or you're probably not going to go very far. And then when you take a look at duels, priest was actually pretty good. If you take a look at the builds were built around with this Elusia package, you had a Mind Tether. This hero power was quite good, and with Shower Void, which used to be 3 mana, but it's super non-interactive. This is the only priest, one of the 2 priest decks that were really good. But this one was just, it would just go face. People hated it, so they banned cards, they nerfed cards, and eventually it just became not very good. The other deck for priest that was quite good in duels that people did well with was the Dragon deck. I got 12-0, I think, even with it. You would get Dragon Affinity, which got removed. So basically, priest has lost its good win conditions. However, there is a dual class hero, Elise, that uses Druid and priest. That's actually pretty good. There's quest priest variants, there's wig variants, the whole spell stuff. Priest actually does okay when it's combined with another class in their broken cards, particularly like Guff, Twig, Sphere, Sapiens, or other things. So priest could be all right if they get some help from another class. And looking at priest, if we're taking a look at HearthstoneDecks.net, they actually list classic decks. Since August of 2021, they have listed all of 8 decks because priest is that bad that like nobody wants to even remotely try playing it classic. You look at the other classes, there's plenty of decks to go around. Priest is the absolute worst. So what can be done for priest? It's doing terribly outside of one deck in standard, basically dumpstering. And how do you make priest good? Well, you got to give them good cards. The problem when they give priest good cards is they typically break the game because they have some of the best removal, and Control Warrior did something very similar in that regard. So I don't know how you really fix the priest situation outside of just giving them busted stuff every expansion, hoping it'll see play, but then you'll see the usual amount of complaints coming. Well, that priest is really good, it's really unfun to face, and I don't know what route they'll go. I have a feeling we're gonna be complaining about priest sooner than later again, because whenever it's this bad, it always gets a lot of support and then people start complaining. It's a vicious cycle. I just thought it'd be really interesting to go over why priest is sucking in so many modes, and basically, yeah, their cards just kind of suck. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day and stay salty, my friends.